Hi, this is OG. Welcome to Crypto Nights. Become a knight by joining the Crypto Night Discord channel, link in the description below. Every day on this channel, I will share the latest technical analysis and market updates on Bitcoin, Ethereum, altcoins, and overall cryptocurrency space. So make sure you like, share, and subscribe so that you can turn on that bell notification, which is super important because I share trade updates and trade setups in real time. And so if you're late, then sometimes you're late and you've missed trading opportunities. And so make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell. Okay, let's get into today's video. So let's start out with the overall markets. Overall, we're down a bit, right? So if we take a look at the current market cap, we're at 1.33 trillion roughly. So down a bit slightly from yesterday. The dominance of Bitcoin at 44.7% is up slightly, and while the dominance of Ethereum, currently at 16.6%, is down slightly. And this makes sense, right? If we look at the change in price over the last 24 hours, we see that while Bitcoin is down 1.6%, Ethereum is down more. And that's true across the altcoin space, that during this dump, right, or during this correction, alts have dumped more than Bitcoin, which is why we see the dominance of Bitcoin rising. If we scroll this quickly, you can see that Bitcoin, right, currently sitting at roughly 31.6K, Ethereum at roughly 1900, BinanceCoin at roughly 300, Cardano at roughly 118, XRP at 58 cents, and Dogecoin at 18 cents, DOT at $12.30 roughly, Uniswap $16.20. Let's see, Chainlink around 15.30, and Polygon, right, or MATIC at roughly 79 cents. So, and we see that overall the markets are down, not by a lot, but overall down, right? 3%, 4%, 5%, right? So that's the general range of the correction so far. If we look at DeFi, the market cap is 70.6 billion, so again down slightly, and the dominance is at 5.3%, so down from 5.4%. So DeFi has, as an overall market cap, has gone down, and its dominance in the overall cryptocurrency space has gone down slightly as well. So if we look at the top couple of players, Uniswap, Chainlink, right, down roughly 4% each. Looking at NFTs, the market cap is at 13.4 billion, and the dominance at 1%. So this was 1.1% yesterday. So overall down. And if we look at some of the larger coins in this space, right, we see that Data, Chili's, Engine, all down roughly 4 or 5%. So in line with DeFi and in line with some of the major altcoins we saw. But Axie Infinity is down quite a lot, right, 17.5%. And this is probably due to the fact that it has gone a lot, right? It has gone up a lot during the last few days, right? So, it's normal to see this have a bigger correction than the other ones because it's gone up more, right? So now let's get into the technical analysis portion of the video. So it's no surprise, right? It's not news that we've been bearish and Bitcoin has been quite weak for the past few days, right? So ever since we broke down from let's say 34,000, it's been just trending downwards and downwards. And right now we are in fact stuck, right? We're in this range, right, from roughly let's say 31,000 to 32.4 thousand, right? So we're kind of stuck between this range, ping-ponging back and forth, whipsawing. So this wasn't a great place for trend trades, right? Momentum trade. This is more for a mean reversion trade, right? As we long the bottom, short the top. So for some of you who are engaging grid trading, right, or using grid bots, then this was a great place for that, right? You probably made a ton of money doing that, right? Just longing the bottoms and shorting the tops of this range. So now let's see what we have. So yesterday when we broke above the 200 MAs and created some separation, right, I was getting more bullish and I was thinking, okay, if we can hold upon the retest of 200 MAs here and bounce up, then we could potentially see the beginnings of a bullish reversal on the larger time frame. But unfortunately, we didn't get it, right? So when we were breaking on this candle specifically, right, when we closed below the 200 MAs, I sent out a note in yesterday's TradingView post, be careful, right? That I was becoming, more bearish, that my bullish thesis was getting invalidated, and that, we're more likely going to see sideways or potentially downwards movement than rallying from here, right? So, and that's what happened, right? We went down, and so right now, overall bullish kind of momentum is not really there, and in fact, we might be seeing a potential head and shoulders forming, right? Left shoulder, or actually, let me get rid of this. It's not a very pretty head and shoulders, but it's a head and shoulders nonetheless. So left shoulder here, head right there, potential right shoulder because it's not confirmed yet. So if we have something like this, we have the neckline at roughly 31.1 thousand. And so if price were to break below and close below this level, right, especially if we have strong volume, then this head and shoulders would be confirmed and the right shoulder would be formed, in which case I would be looking for a short. And the target from that short would be, if we just take the distance from the head to the neckline and drag it over to the point of breakdown, this gives us a target of 29.8 thousand, right? So this would be a 4.4 to 4.5% roughly move. So a pretty big move. So that's what I'm looking at for Bitcoin in terms of potentially, right, where we might see a long trade possibility is at 31,000. So actually right below this break, right? So which is another reason why I would need to see a large break for me to take it short, because this could potentially be a bear trap zone, right? And what I mean is this, right? We could see something like this where it comes down, breaks below support, and then sharp rally back up above, trapping shorts here, in which case this would be a good place for a long, right? But it's a little bit tricky because both the short region and the long region is roughly the same. Typically they are at different places, right? Typically we're short the top or we're long the bottom, but here while we are long in the bottom, we could potentially have a short upon breakout. So this is where I'm going to be paying really close attention to volume, to candlestick patterns, etc., right? If we do come down here, and the false breakdown is something like this. We had this a few days ago, right? So some of you might have taken this trade, so like this, right? So just to illustrate this, right? We had this low here, price came back down, closed below. So a lot of people probably went short here, right, upon breakout. But then 2 candles later, we had a close above the support and we had a nice rally. And so this is something that could potentially happen here as well, right? We have this low, price could come down like this, right, close below, just to pop right back up and then have a nice pump. So we want to be cognizant of that and be prepared for that possibility so that we're not caught off guard. That said, right, we might not make it down here, right? We could be just consolidating sideways and then eventually go up. So what I'm looking for is a break above 31 point, let's say 32. Yeah, let's say 32,000 for me to flip more bullish, right? And this is because that will then invalidate this right shoulder, in which case we would invalidate, this head and shoulders, and therefore, we would be switching to a more of a bullish bias. But right now, it seems that this head and shoulders is still in play, right, until this gets invalidated. So that's what I'm looking for Bitcoin. Now, switching over to Ethereum, again, right, no surprise, overall bearish, right, just down and down and down. And we actually got rejected by the 200 MAs right here, right, and we had a nice, not a nice, but we had a dump. And right now what I'm looking for is, similarly to Bitcoin, I'm looking for a potential false breakdown, right? If price comes closes below the support at roughly 1840-ish, right, 1850, then close back up with strong volume, then I would be looking for a potential long setup here. And if it were to come up to the upside, I will need to see price close above the 200 MA, so above, let's say, 1970, 1980, for me to start flipping my bias to a more bullish stance. Right, so that's what I'm looking at for Ethereum. That's it for today's technical analysis portion. A couple of stories I want to share. One is this, right? So DApp for Dia blockchain partners with Polkadot infrastructure provider. Just a reminder for those who haven't been paying attention. Diem is the new brand, the rebranding of Facebook's Libra, right? So, and one, not this, this doesn't have a lot of details, but one thing I do want to share is this portion right here, right? So the network is aimed at allowing developers to use a Polkadot parachain as a testing ground for their ideas before submitting them to the Diem blockchain, right? And so, to me, the takeaway here is that, one, this is bullish for Polkadot, right? And two, it's good that we're seeing traditional players like Facebook integrating with the more decentralized aspects of crypto, right? In the form of integration with Polkadot, right? So, I think this is a potential path forward for the future where, it isn't so much a centralized world versus a decentralized world. It might be one where the two are intricately linked, right? And so it might be the hybrid of centralized entities working with decentralized platforms and technology that leads to mass adoption, right? Because whether we like it or not, at least at this point in time, centralized platforms hold most of the users, right? I mean, the number of users on Facebook, right, on Twitter, right, on TikTok, I mean, it's orders of magnitudes bigger than anything that we have in DeFi, right, in NFTs or in crypto, in the entirety, even in the entirety of the cryptocurrency space, right? So I think at least that might be at least a transition phase, right? I think even if we do eventually get to a point where everything is decentralized, I think we might need to have a stepping stone in the middle of this hybrid version of a decentralized world working with these centralized platforms to then onboard people into the decentralized world and then potentially then eventually doing away with these centralized portions. But I think that will take time, right? And I think there will be this transition phase. I don't think we'll go directly to everything's decentralized in one swinging in one step, right? I don't think that's going to happen, but of course anything's possible, right? So I'll be keeping tabs on what on the latest updates, right, and developments in the industry. The second piece of news I want to share is this: Fed and Yale researchers lay out two regulatory frameworks for stablecoins. So the researchers concluded that policymakers have two choices with respect to regulating stablecoins. One is to make stablecoins equivalent to public money, right? Essentially to recognize it, to recognize stablecoins as legal tender, right? So something similar to what El Salvador has done. The second is to introduce their own stablecoin in the form of a central bank digital currency, right, or CBDC, which then would entail taxing the private stablecoins out of existence, right? So either they embrace these stablecoins, right, and give them the legal status of U.S. dollars, or they could fight back against these stablecoins and introduce their own. I think the takeaway here is that in either case, the recognition here is that there is a need, right, for digital dollars, right, for digital stablecoins, whether that's in the form of current stablecoins launched by private enterprise, or whether that's in the form of one that's controlled by the central bank. The conclusion is that this is something that is needed. So, what do you guys think, right? Do you guys think that the central bank, right, or the regulators should recognize existing stablecoins like USDT or USDC, or do you think they should create their own and essentially, through regulation, right, or through taxation, get rid of the current existing stablecoins like USDT, USDC? Let me know in the comments below. That's it for today's video, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, the best way that you can support what I do and if you appreciate these videos, is to like this video, share with your friends, and most importantly of all, subscribe, right? Subscribe and turn on that bell notification. That's what means the world to me. Thank you guys, and see you guys in the next one.